Brandon Cutler from AEW. You're watching Cole TV.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pro Wrestling 60. We're making it rain all this week because it is Vegas week here on Cole TV, and it begins tonight with this episode of Pro Wrestling 60. I'm Xlj the Og, joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother. This week, he is hailing from Henderson, Nevada, which is just a suburb town outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. One Mr. B.
Right.
Roll. Did you bet all your money on Rev 5?
Yeah, yes, of course. Now, a wise man once told me, nobody actually is from Vegas, right? Nobody's really from Vegas. Like most of the people you meet in Vegas, they're probably not from Vegas.
Where the hell did you get those? Why are you wearing women's sunglasses? Not that there's anything wrong with it.
I don't know. To me, they just say Vegas, baby.
No, but okay. Anyways, so we're kicking off Vegas week tonight here on PW60, and quite a bit happened this past week in the world of professional wrestling, did it not, Mr. B-Roll?
Yeah, I mean, we did have us a little bit of a pay-per-view. We will not call it a PLE, gosh darn it. We did have that. We had some news and some what have yous, and yeah.
You know what? I figured it out. You look like you're from like one of the council people off of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's what it is. So.
Yep.
Because baby, when you in Vegas, the casinos, no windows. Anyways, we're going to be talking about Vegas all this week, but I think it's time you hit us with that sweet, sweet line to get the show started, my friend.
That is right. Let's get right into it. We got enough to talk about. So I'm Mr. B-Roll. He's XLJ. And we say the clock starts now.
That's indeed. And of course, our top story this week is WWE Survivor Series took place this past Saturday night in Vancouver, British Columbia at the Rogers Arena. Of course, WWE doing what WWE does, touting that it's the highest gate in Canada and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I'm sure it was, but I mean, you know, inflation. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, though, outside of that, I thought it was a pretty decent show. What did you think about Survivor Series?
I mean, I quite enjoyed it. You know, it's crazy. You know, let's see. Is this because time flies? Is this our kind of second War Games main roster, or is this our third?
The third.
Mm-hmm.
Third? Yeah, that's the third one.
I mean, yeah, time flies. I mean, it's still so surreal to me a little bit, in a way. But I mean, I
speaking
think,
of War Games,
both matches delivered. I think men's more so than the women's, but I would say they both delivered.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a minute too, but yeah. Let's talk about the men's War Games, though. A lot of controversy going into this one, as you had the Bloodline against the OG Bloodline. Of course, 5-on-5. Some additions that some fans didn't necessarily agree with. I said going into this, I was okay with it. I think it lent itself fine to the story. I think the story that was told in the match, like nothing got taken away from that. Once again, I will stand on top of this hill. I know this is a whole like family affair, but I don't think it would have made sense to put like a Hikuleo or a Scylla Fatu or somebody in this matchup who hasn't even, you know, Scylla, who hasn't even been signed by WWE technically, and put them in a it just didn't make sense. The timing's not right. They need to be built up anyway on television. So for them, I think for them to go out and the new bloodline and get Bronson Reed, it just puts him over more as just how much of a badass he is. And there's a story to be told with CM Punk being added into this matchup too as well. I mean, the story that was told throughout the match was very interesting, I think, especially with the dynamic with Punk and Reigns, like with the whole, like, those spots they did, like, and then kind of Reigns hitting Punk, but then Punk saving Reigns later on from that devastating tsunami from freaking Bronson Reed, man. Like, holy crap. But overall, I think I really like the story. I honestly, I enjoyed this men's War Games match a lot better than last year's men's War Game match. I felt like it was more of a interesting story to me, and seeing the Usos back together, like, for example, when they hit the 1D and stuff, that was pretty cool. And then, like, Jacob Fatu just destroying everybody too as well. Like, overall, I thought this match accomplished quite a bit. And of course, you have the OG Bloodline picking up a big win here against the new Bloodline. But what do you think of the men's War Games?
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. Like you said, like the Usos hitting the 1D, like that it felt right. It felt magical. As soon as Bronson was in the match, everyone was thinking like, we need a tsunami off the top. Like we need it in our lives. You got Sami Zayn in there, the honorary Sammy Uso. I mean, it really was. Now I'll be honest. When Punk was first announced and everything, I was not a fan. But
as was the vast majority of the IWC.
I think we say a lot on here, let them cook. And I think it did work out because someone made a point, and this even kind of goes even doesn't really have anything to do with the match, but we know we're going to probably get a Seth Punk rivalry at some point too. So honestly, like, that adds fuel to that too. Because I'm sure this probably pisses Seth off.
Yeah, I would think so. And then, somebody pointed something out. I thought this was very interesting, like, from the Shield perspective. Like, Roman's the first one to kind of acknowledge Punk or shake his hand, because this bad blood with Seth. We remember in AEW, Punk and Mox certainly didn't get along there, at least especially towards the end. So it's kind of interesting when you think about that aspect of the story. But there's so many. That's the cool thing with this. There's so many nuances, so many aspects, so many different ways they could go with this. What's the favor going to be? And a pretty cool visual at the end of the night, too, with the pose and whatnot. But like I say, was it one of the best War Game matches? No. But it was a fun, entertaining War Game match. It told a great story. And this visual right here is just pretty cool. I like the bloodline with Punk doing the go to sleep. So, like I say, overall, I really enjoyed the men's War Game match. It was just, the best way we can put it is highly entertaining. And it is our match of the week here on PW60. Well, my friend, I think we all, after Turkey Day this past week, stuffing our faces and stuff, getting back into the real world here, we need some advice from your friendly neighborhood Dad Hat. So let's go to Dad Hat with Dad Hat's tip of the week.
It's that time of the week again. Dad Hat's life lessons of the week. Brought to you by World Championship Wreckage. Find them on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And also by the Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. every Wednesday, twitch.tv/WrestleTalk Wolfpack. And now, here's Dad Hat.
All right, kids, Thanksgiving's in the rearview mirror, and the holiday season is upon us. And as you go out shopping and doing all your holiday shopping for your friends and family, always remember, don't be a dick to other people. Don't cut people off. Don't rush past them. Don't grab last things off the shelf. Be kind to your fellow human beings. Or not.
So many people doing that Black Friday, man. Heads were rolling, brother. Well, thank you so much, Dad Hat. We appreciate all the advice we can get. But we had another War Games match at Survivor Series, of course, and that is the Women's War Games match. As it was a unique pairing, I guess you could say, on both sides of the spectrum. Of course, you had Nia teaming up with Candice LeRae and Tiffany Stratton and Raquel Rodriguez, and of course, the women's champion Liv Morgan going up against Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, Bailey, and Io Sky. Which a lot of people going into this was just kind of like, that's just like we're putting like just different women together. There was some stories kind of told that was unique, like how is Bailey going to work with Io? And then Bailey and Bianca's kind of splintered relationship in the past, as well as there was the obviously the whole Rhea and Liv, and then how is Liv going to work with Nia, considering they just wrestled, a month ago at Crown Jewel. It was an okay match. I'm not going to rip on it. I know a lot of people are. I mean, it was a fine matchup. Okay, if I was to say anything about this matchup, if I'm being completely honest, it kind of felt like a recycled War Games women's match in the past. Like, what do you think of the women's War Games match?
I mean, I may be in the minority here. I mean, was it a great match? No, but I was okay with it.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I think
I didn't have like major expectations for this one.
There you go.
Yeah,
I think
it was what I thought it would be. Like,
right. And wrestling fans are so fickle too. Like just critiquing this match and like I heard somebody like bitching about Nia Jax's performance. I mean, Nia Jax went bell to bell in this fucking match, so like I don't want to hear your shit. And by the way, Nia's hair on fleek. By the way, kudos to you, Nia. I think, like I say, I feel like I will say one thing about these War Games matches, B-roll. One thing I kind of, and this is me nitpicking. I think I may even said this thing last year too. I get really tired of the combatants come out and then they just go underneath the ring and just randomly pick out weapons at different intervals. I would just have weapons already in there or some shit. I don't know. It kind of, it's a nitpicky thing, but it kind of annoys me. I mean, because you just, you can practically expect it every time now. But yeah, like I say, the women's one, not a bad match by any means. I just think at the end of the day, we'd seen a lot of these spots. Now there was the Money in the Bank tease, which, good God, Tiffany, when are you going to cash that thing in? For God's sakes, this has been going on too long. So, but like I say, overall, not a bad match by any means. It was what it was, and we're going to leave it at that, my friend. But we got other matches to talk about in Survivor Series, including this one. The Ring General Gunther defending his world championship against number one contender Damian Priest. Of course, Priest had a lot of momentum going into this. Gunther kind of questioning himself after that big loss to Cody Rhodes at the Crown Jewel, which is just so crazy to think like Gunther questioning his confidence. Like, what the fuck? Like Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn, I think, are the only two guys that's beat him on the main roster. And then if you count NXT, of course, oh my gosh, the Moscow, I can't think of his name. That's crazy. He's been hurt. Ilya Dragunov. Thank you. Good God. wrestling brain, and when you get 40 folks, I almost said Bastion Booger. If you know, you know. But anyways, yeah, I think those are literally the only 3 losses he's ever suffered in WWE. So it's just like talking about like his confidence being off. Like, huh? What? Now, once again, we got to acknowledge this. A lot of people bitching and moaning about this one. But it was just a repeat of SummerSlam. I don't think it was, in my opinion. I think it was a different matchup, but a very similar finish. As, of course, Finn Balor comes out, reigniting this rivalry with Damian Priest that kind of needs to be over, honestly, in my opinion. So I guess we're gonna get more Judgment Day and Damian Priest. It looks like there was like a segment done online where the Judgment Day jumped Priest. So B-roll, how is this gonna end? Are we gonna finally end this damn thing? Can we maybe end it at Saturday night's main event or something? Just be done with it.
It doesn't need to carry into the new year. How about that?
Thank you.
I don't know what it's gonna take. I don't know if it's gonna take murder. We're not afraid. We're not fans of that. But
let's not.
This
that's Charles Mason and GCW.
Yeah, this is it does need to end.
Yeah, it does need to end. Of course, Gunther retaining the world title, and will continue on his long reign. I don't see him dropping it anytime soon. Maybe WrestleMania, maybe against a certain superhuman man who you can't see, perhaps. I'm just throwing that out there. But I didn't think this was a bad match. It was fine for what it was. I just think fans were not happy with the result, especially with the predictability of it. But was what it was, folks. But honestly, you could easily argue that this was probably the best matchup of the night. Maybe not from a storytelling perspective, but as far as in-ring, this triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship was, as you kids say, and I'm only saying because Sheamus says it, it was a banger. What did you think of the 3-way between Braun and Kaiser and Sheamus?
Yeah, I think, like you said, easily probably best match of the night. Especially, when you take a card where you have 2 War Games matches, right? Which, I mean, those kind of go. Those are what they are. They're going to be over the top. They're going to be crazy. But I mean, this is one of those ones. It looked good on paper, and it was even better. It was even better than advertised.
Big time matchup and moment for Ludwig Kaiser being featured on a pay-per-view, the Caliber Survivor Series, and the fact that he was in this IC championship matchup. I really am enjoying what Braun Breaker's doing. I know a lot of people back in SummerSlam time were a little hesitant about Braun getting the belt then and like where he was going to go from there, but I really am starting to kind of feel like Braun Breaker is truly kind of getting comfortable in his own skin on the main roster. Like, of course, the physicality is second to none. We've known that. But I feel like what's improved drastically with Braun, and not that it was bad from the get-go, but I just feel like he feels more natural when he's on the mic. He knows who he is. He's an ass kicker through and through. So, really enjoying Braun Breaker's work here lately. But of course, Braun retains his IC title in a big-time triple threat match. And man, oh man, maybe someday Sheamus is going to get that damn IC title, but it's definitely did not take place at Survivor Series. There's so many people that want that B-roll so bad. It's kind of fascinating to me too when you think about it, because I can't remember a guy last time where he was chasing the Intercontinental title like this, and it means so much. It almost feels like a major, like chasing after the world or WWE title or something. Come on, Sheamus, you're gonna finish your story one of these days, buddy. But nonetheless, it was a great IC title matchup, but also that wasn't the only singles title on the line. LA Knight defending his United States Championship against this new look Shinsuke Nakamura. And B-roll, I gotta say, man, this was definitely surprise of the night for me. Because folks, we've got a new United States champion, and it's Shinsuke Nakamura. You talk about coming back from like not really being used out of obscurity to now all of a sudden it's like this new dark Shinsuke, and now he's defeated LA Knight for that US championship. B-roll. Like how surprised were you with LA Knight dropping the US title?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. But not gonna say I'm mad about it.
No,
because
not at all.
It's very this new character. It's very intriguing, right? And the fact that they've already like given him a belt, and it's very believable too. Is the thing, because at some point you did need to get the belt off of LA Knight. He's had it for a significant amount of time. But I'm interested. So it's like I'm looking at it like this. So we got this kind of like new Shinsuke, right? And it's like we just put wheels on it, and we're gonna see where we can go with it.
Yeah. And I will say this too. I do believe like let's give him a good long run too. I wouldn't have him drop it back to LA Knight. I'm excited for multiple reasons with this because I've always been a huge fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. It's great to see him like with the new coat of paint and they're actually going to utilize him because he's one of the all-time greats. I think it was a great run for LA Knight, but I am very intrigued to see like what's he gonna do now? Is he gonna chase after that US title, or maybe he's gonna move on to bigger and better things? Perhaps, maybe could he be one of the favorites early on in the Royal Rumble? What if LA Knight wins the Royal Rumble and maybe he ends up going to Mania to challenge Gunther? Who knows, right?
Could happen.
Yeah, you never know. So, but of course, with Shinsuke Nakamura picking up that win, he had to be our wrestler of the week here on PW60. Huge win. Great to see Nakamura back in the thick of things. But I would say Survivor Series, I think a lot of people critique it and beat it into the ground. IWC, just touch some grass, enjoy wrestling. Overall, I thought it was a fine show. Was it one of the best Survivor Series of all time? No, but I mean, it was a fun show. And like I say, I really thought it was a nice ribbon they put on it at the end of the night with this the whole men's War Games match. Good show, man. Good show.
Here are my comments on it. Shut up, eat your turkey, and watch some wrestling.
Damn straight. Well, my friends, it's that time in the show where let's go to Husky with a hot take.
What's up, PW60? It's your boy. So, Survivor Series happened last night, and CM Punk, after the match, greets Paul Heyman and says, "You owe me a favor for this." Paul says, "It's yours whenever you claim it." I think this might be the start of the CM Punk heel turn, and he takes Paul Heyman with him. What do you guys think?
Oh, I don't know, man. It is interesting to wonder what the heck is this favor that Punk is going to have to get from Paul Heyman. Because, I mean, it's not like Roman's the champion right now. It's not like any of the OG Bloodline have titles. So it's like, what potentially could this favor be? Will we see it sooner rather than later? No. One of the many compelling things coming out of Survivor Series. But Survivor Series was not the only event that took place this past weekend, because we all know the world of wrestling, there's so much going on. TNA Friday night presented Turning Point live from WrestleCade. And it was a tremendous show. Of course, highlighted by the main event with Nick Nemeth defending his world championship against none other than Eddie Edwards, the former champion. And I got to tell you, B-Roll, this was actually a hell of a matchup. And There's a couple times I was shocked as shit that I thought maybe Eddie Edwards was going to walk out a 3-time TNA World Champion. Great matchup, but once again, Nick Nemeth proving himself, and I think at this point he's beat everybody in the system. I want to say, which I know that doesn't hurt your feelings, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Yeah, well, I have lots of thoughts on who and when and if and when who should beat him, but I just don't know when we're going to get there. But I still believe.
I see what you did there, and I like it. Also, speaking of championships on the line, the Knockouts Championship was on the line with Jordan Grace in a rematch against Masha Slamovich, the defending champion. This was a 2 out of 3 falls matchup. And it looked like Jordan was going to win the belt back because she picked up the first fall. However, Masha was able to pick up the other 2 remaining falls and thus retain her Knockouts Championship. Hell of a matchup. I do think like we're kind of at the end of the run here for Jordan Grace. Because I think it's plain as day, like WWE wants her and they want her bad. And she probably will, as soon as that contract's up, will be going, I would assume, to NXT. Maybe they put her on the main roster. Who knows? But doesn't matter. Wherever Jordan Grace goes, she is one of the best professional wrestlers in the world going today. Like, so it's going to be awesome to see. And Masha Slamovich, kudos to you as well. One of the best pro wrestlers going as well. I don't know who's going to stop Masha, honestly, in TNA. So great matchup. Great Knockouts Championship.
Yeah, I don't know either. I keep looking at this picture. I'm like, look at those quads. Like, oh my god.
I know, right? Like, she's giving Hammerstone a run for his money. But also, also at Turning Point, Matt Riddle made his TNA debut. Yeah, I'm not a big Riddle fan, folks. I'm sorry. I don't know if I've said that on the show or if anybody follows me knows that, but I'm not a big Riddle guy. I mean, sorry, just doesn't do it for me. But he appeared in the 6-man tag match. Of course, replacing one of the
Trey Miguel.
Trent Miguel. Trey Miguel could not make it could not make it due to travel issues. Made sense too, because I mean Riddle was there for WrestleCade anyway, so why not? But yeah, he ended up, of course, the Hardys and Ace Austin ended up picking up the win ultimately. But is he going to be permanently in TNA? I hope not.
Doubtful.
but time's going to tell on this one, brother.
I'm pretty sure he's actually like.
Oh, he's actually signed to MLW officially, isn't he?
Yeah. I'll say, yeah, I think he signed like a multi-year deal with him.
Yeah, I think you're right. Some other matches on hand at Turning Point that were noteworthy. Steve Macklin defeating Josh Alexander in a no DQ match. Moose retained his X Division title against the Laredo Kid. Santana defeating Kazarian 1-on-1. And, of course, Joe Hendry winning the Turkey Bowl match. Which, if you can imagine, yes, the loser, which was Brian Myers, from the system, had to don a turkey suit, which I know that hurts your feelings. So.
No, it was quite entertaining.
But yeah, man, TNA's Turning Point was a fun show. And you can always catch a replay on it on TNA Plus. So shout out to them. But yeah, Turning Point, great show. Now let's talk about Dynamite from this past Wednesday night. And a big bulk of what Dynamite was all about, of course, the fallout from Full Gear. But as we all know in the wrestling world, things move at a rapid pace. Of course, now AEW television, it's all about that Continental Classic, baby. It's the Continental Classic did kick off this past Wednesday. Of course, you had several matches. Shelton Benjamin going up against Mark Briscoe. Of course, Shelton Benjamin picking up the win there. We also had Ricochet going up against Claudio Castagnoli, which, if I remember correctly, I think Claudio won that one, right? I think Claudio got a big win there against Ricochet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I was
Well,
surprised.
we have the standings here in a
we'll talk about the standings here in a second.
We'll remember for sure.
And of course, anytime we do Darby Allin against Brody King, it's a great match. So we got that going. And also Chris Jericho retained the Ring of Honor World Championship against Tomohiro Ishii. Why? Also, we had some other qualifying matchups too, with Queen Aminata going up against Jamie Hayter for the International Women's Cup, which that's going to be determined in like a 4-way. And then the winners of the 4-way will go on to a 4-way at Wrestle Dynasty. Of course, with CMLL, Ring of Honor, and Stardom also represented, as well as AEW. So, all about the tournaments, though, man. It's that time of year, man, where we get into it thick and heavy with these tournament matches. So, overall, what do you think so far with the Continental Classic? Which I know we're going to talk more about it with the Collision and stuff, but
yeah, I mean, there's definitely still a lot to see. I'm very interested to see like what type of run Shelton Benjamin's going to go on through this.
Yeah,
because it's like I don't know if I expect him to go undefeated, but I'm also like I don't know if I expect him to lose in any of these matchups. Like,
yeah.
So it'll be interesting. So,
yeah. Another big part of Dynamite from this past week was this confrontation, of course, with the Death Riders running rampant as they have been. Of course, ultimately like assaulting like Jay White and stuff. Now, this is something that is so cool for us here at PW60. This is a PW60 exclusive, right? We have actually got comments from Jay White himself after this past Wednesday night. And of course, our good, close personal friend, the Best Scout Machine, was able to get an interview with Jay White. So that being said, let's go to Best Scout with this interview with Jay White.
P-Dub City. I was very fortunate this week because I was able to sit down with a victim of the attacks from the Death Riders, John Moxley's Death Riders, poor New Zealander, Jay White, Switchblade Jay White, as a few people may know him, was viciously attacked by the Death Riders, specifically by Mina Shafir. Well, I'm here to sit down with Jay White. Jay White, how are you doing this evening? What was that, Jay White? I know, I'm sure you were in a lot of pain. How did it feel like being in the clutches of the vicious Marina Shafir? Are there any injuries? Are you going to be out for any time soon? We're really hoping to see you in the titleship contendership for the AEW championship ship. Excuse me? What was that, Jay? I can't understand most of what you're saying. It's that New Zealander accent. You've been eating way too many damn Kiwis and listening to Flight of the Conchord way too much. I'm sorry, I'm not being prejudiced against New Zealanders, but damn it, Jay. Like, I just... Do not use that language with me, sir. I am a professional. I am a sports journalist, content creator. Sir, just no. We're going to have to call this off. We're going to have to end this short because I don't think Jay was ready for an interview today. But in all fairness, Jay, do you have any last words? Well, enough of that. Any gout-verse stuff happening that I'm unaware of? Bitch, this is drag gout. Look at my eyebrows. They're lovely. They're sensuous. Oh, don't you... Oh, wait. That's not supposed to be there. Well, bitch, we out here making money and watching Collision. That evil gout, I think he on vacation. We're all still mourning pirate gout and cowboy gout. And there's a couple other gouts. I think there was one from New Zealand. He dead too. Look into my eyes. Get lost in these baby blues, baby. But yeah, I'm gonna sit here and watch Collision. What the hell is Survivor Series? That doesn't exist over here. It's all about TNA, baby. The number one in the world. Owned by Jerry Springer. Yeah, alternate universes. I'm not even gonna blink.
Oh, thank you, Pascal. Like Jay White had a lot to say there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, hey, as the drag gout, or as drag gout mentioned, let's talk about Collision from this past week. Which once again picking up with the Continental Classic again. Will Ospreay going up against Juice Robinson. Of course, Ospreay picking up a win there. Kyle Fletcher against Beast Mortos, and Kyle Fletcher is on the board as well with some points. But let's talk about that main event, dude. Daniel Garcia, Kazuchika Okada, and a hell of a matchup. Definitely the best matchup in the first round of the Continental Classic. Going the time limit draw in this champion versus champion matchup. So that is going to be a huge factor on down the road, I believe, for both Mr. Okada and Mr. Garcia. But so far, what, like I say, with that being said, I know it's early on here, B-roll, but do you got any favorites you think you want to go with? You think it's going to pull off the win? Think it's going to walk out with the Continental Classic?
Well, so I'll give you a couple of thoughts here. I would say this: what a difference a year makes for Garcia, right? Which, I mean, a lot of, you know, like if you think about it, if you want to say his, like the start of this, big push that he's been getting was from the Continental Classic of last year, and here he is taking Okada to, to the limit. But as far as my favorites to win it, I'm gonna have to go with my boy Ospreay.
Knew it.
I'm gonna have to.
Okada and Ospreay in the finals.
Yeah, I think a close second too would, like I alluded to earlier when we were talking about Dynamite. I'm really interested to see what Shelton Benjamin's going to do through this. I'm really intrigued by it.
Okay. You know the one I'm really intrigued to see how they run into this thing? Kyle Fletcher. I think like he got a career-defining win against Will Ospreay at Full Gear. He's got all the momentum in the world. I don't think he's going to win it, but by God, I think he's going to make a splash in this tournament. Let's put it that way. But you can expect a lot more Continental Classic to eat up a bulk of the television time in these next couple weeks on AEW. And speaking of which, your boys are going to be at Dynamite this Wednesday in Fisher. So we'll have a flog out on that next week. Shout out there. But Collision with a special start time due to Survivor Series, and they also went back to back and did a very special Rampage episode, as this was kind of a Lucha Libre themed Rampage episode. But the star of the show by far, Rampage, is she needs to be pushed to the moon and back. Harley Cameron, my God, you are a treasure. I mean, the whole Harley Graham, she found a freaking hologram mask and put it on. Holy shit. Like going up against Thunder Rosa. You had that incredible trios tag team matchup with Top Flight and Action Andretti against Atlantis Jr. And Shibata and Masquerada. Mortos going up against Serpentico, and of course Commander and Hinchicero in the main event. I really thought this was a cool theme. This was the kudos to AEW for doing this. I'd like to see some more of this. I like the whole the Lucha Libre themed Rampage. Rampage, I tell you, we talk about it here all the time. It's like either hit or miss, but man, sometimes when they hit a home run, they really surprise you, don't they, B-roll?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rampage. Well, I mean, Rampage is about to be no more, correct? Here pretty soon.
Sounds like. Yeah, here pretty soon. Doesn't sound like you're gonna get any Rampage, but
yeah, I mean, if they were to do more like this, I think there would be more intrigue.
Yeah, but solid week for AEW. But let's talk about the Continental Classic now. Over on the Gold League, of course, we've got a 3-way tie with Claudio Castagnoli, Will Ospreay, and Brody King, all with 3 points, picking up the wins. Of course, Juice Robinson, Ricochet, and Darby Allin at 0. And then in the Blue League, we have got Kyle Fletcher and Shelton Benjamin leading with 3 points. And of course, we got Okada and Garcia with 1, and Mark Briscoe and the Beast Mortos at 0. So we will see what just happens with the Continental Classic these upcoming weeks. But let's talk about Monday Night Raw from this past week. Crazy to think we're just now talking about Raw, man. But of course, the go-home shows for Raw and SmackDown for Survivor Series. But man, oh man, there was a lot that happened, though, on Monday Night Raw. The biggest thing, man, this whole New Day thing, it is coming full force because this Monday, tonight on Raw, it's the 10-year anniversary for the New Day. But God, man, what happened there between Woods and Kofi, that segment, that oh my gosh, dude, Big E.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna be there. You're gonna have to talk to your boys because it is not looking good for Woods and Kofi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like crap's about to hit the fan.
It really does. So, of course, New Day losing to Alpha Academy to kind of cause all that. Of course, you had the main event was Nia Jax against Bianca with the War Games advantage. You also had Judgment Day going up against the War Raiders, which I believe they were defending the tag titles in that matchup because War Raiders were the number 1 contenders. Of course, Judgment Day retaining. We also got to see Braun Breaker go against Luke Kaiser and that whole thing breaking down. Let's talk about SmackDown from this past week as well. Of course, the go home for Survivor Series the night before Survivor Series. Big matchup for Carmelo Hayes going up against Cody Rhodes. Of course, Cody picking up the win there. And that main event was sick, dude, with Jacob Fatu against Jey Uso, with the winner getting an advantage. And War Games, of course, as we all know, the new bloodline picking up that win with Jacob Fatu. And Mishin advancing in the U.S. Women's Title Tournament as well. Also, kudos to once again the cinematic style with the Roman Reigns CM Punk set down segment. That was pretty awesome as well. But like we say, SmackDown was an awesome show. Survivor Series is over now. And now we move on to the next big thing, the last big thing of the year for WWE on the main roster. And that is Saturday night's main event, which is going to be taking place Saturday, December the 14th from Long Island. Which, if I remember correctly, I think the very first Saturday night's main event was actually held there in Long Island. So kind of cool how things have become full circle. Of course, we know the women's finals of the United States Championship Tournament will take place at Saturday's night's main event. Other matches to be announced, but the big one, folks, the WWE Championship is on the line as Cody Rhodes defends against Kevin Owens. And you know what, B-roll? People have been talking about Cody with this title run and stuff, and just like not really there being a suitable challenger. It's just like a foregone conclusion. Dude, I'm telling you, the way that they've been building this in KO, like being classic KO, like Cody Rhodes better not be taking this one lightly, because I'm not going to be shocked if in Long Island Kevin Owens walks out the new WWE champion. Like, don't be shocked if that happens, folks, because
great minds think alike, I would say, because, since I this has been announced and everything, I've kind of been thinking that I would not be surprised at all if Kevin Owens ends up beating him here. I feel like I don't know, just something about the timing would be right with it.
Mhm.
You know, you're bringing Saturday night's main event back.
What more of a shocking moment could you B-roll? This would be if this happens, if Kevin Owens walks out Saturday night's main event as the new WWE champion, it is going to be the most shocking moment to happen on Saturday night's main event since the infamous Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant match back in 1988, where Hulk lost the WWF title to Andre due to the controversial decision of the twin referees, the Hebner brothers. Damn Hebners. And that was a huge moment in the history of WWE, and you could very well see that happen on December the 14th if Kevin Owens walks out your new WWE champion. It's gonna be interesting to see, man. I'm pumped for Saturday night's main event, especially that matchup. Of course, we got to talk about NXT from Tuesday night too. We continue on as we got some more qualifiers for the Iron Survivor matchups that are going to happen this Saturday at NXT Deadline. Of course, Ethan Page defeating Axiom to qualify for the men's. Julia picking up a big win against Kalani Jordan to qualify for the women's. Of course, we also got that North American Women's Championship title match with Fallon retaining against God, what? Drawing a blank on the girl's name. Tatum Paxley. Jeez, yes, I'm terrible with names. There's just so many wrestlers. Like I say, this big brain can only hold so much. I'm about to be 40, y'all. I'm just saying, this is 40. But like NXT, like we always say, they're always cooking, man. They're always cooking. Every Tuesday night's always fun. But excited to see where we're gonna go. Going into Deadline, let's talk about Deadline this upcoming Saturday. Of course, we know we got the men's and women's Iron Survivors matches. Got one more competitor to be announced or qualify for each of these matchups. If you look at the men's, of course, you got Wesley, Javon Evans, Nathan Frazier, and Ethan Page. Now, on the woman's side of things, though, holy shit, this could main event the show. When you have Stephanie Fakur, of course, you've also got Julia, and we've got my brain is really going to shit on me, buddy. I know Sol Ruka and Akira. Akira? Yes, thank you. I did fucking remember it. Give me credit. It just took me about 10 seconds, okay? The wheels are spinning up here. Lay off me. But anyways, so both of those matchups are going to be fun. The Iron Survivor matches is always fun. And of course, we know Ridge Holland will challenge Trick Williams for the NXT Championship. Look for there to be more matches announced tomorrow night on NXT. We'll figure out who these other two challengers are, as well as the rest of the card. But I'm excited too. The fact that, like, for some reason in my mind, I thought this was a Sunday show, but this is a Saturday night show. I love me some Saturday night shows over Sunday night shows. I'm just saying. But yeah, Deadline is right around the corner. It's gonna be interesting to see. This will be the last pay-per-view. I'm not gonna say premium live event, but the last big event of the year for WWE, not counting Saturday night's main event. So it's gonna be interesting to see. So, well, my friends, it's that time of the show. We need to spice things up a bit. Let's go to Spicy Guac with a spicy thing.
Spicy Guac, aka Gustavo, with little Gustavo. Gustavo.
Yes.
Did you like War Games?
Yeah.
Is there any match you didn't like?
Yeah.
Which one?
Shinsuke.
Oh, Shinsuke?
Yes.
Because he's scary.
Yes.
But he is our United States champion, and we have to acknowledge that. Ain't that right, kid?
Yes.
Goddamn right.
Well, we're glad the Glocks enjoyed.
That was extra spicy.
That was extra spicy. Hey, Speaking of spicy, we got to talk about this story because it dominated the talk in the wrestling world this week. Of course, Ricky Starks having that triumphant return, so to speak, in wrestling, having that big moment last weekend at GCW. And now, just like that, it's gone, folks, because Ricky Starks has been pulled from all GCW appearances. A lot of debate as what has led to this. I mean, we could talk it till we're blue in the face, honestly. The big controversy, a lot of people hinting that it pretty much is because comments that Effie made on his podcast. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I just want to say this: I think it's petty as fuck what they're doing with Ricky Starks. Now, granted, he's not pulled from everything. He's just pulled from GCW so far, because we do know Ricky Starks will be challenging Mike Santana for the World Championship at the House of Glory. So I mean, at least he's still working some indie dates, but I'm telling you, I think they were going to do something magical with Ricky and GCW. I'm biased. I'm a huge GCW fan. I know you are too. So, at the end of the day, let's just all work together. Like we say it here on the show all the time. People, like, just everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Just enjoy wrestling. But one thing, and I'll just say this and leave it at that. It's interesting to see because we were talking about this earlier this week, like with Tony Khan. It's almost kind of like he's become what he hated, because everybody's kind of built him because he has to be so damn defensive because of just like all the shit he takes. Now, that being said, and I'm not saying Tony's innocent by any standards. Tony's guilty as fuck here. Like, just bite your tongue, let Ricky do his thing, and let him run out the contract or whatever, because it's obviously plain as day he ain't re-signing with AEW, nor do I want to see him re-sign, because in my opinion, I think Ricky Starks is one of the most talented professional wrestlers in the world today. There is no reason this guy should not be your world champion, be the top star on your show. Like, it absolutely makes no fucking sense whatsoever that he's sitting on the sidelines. So it is what it is, man. But hopefully, absolute Ricky Starks, we get to see a lot more of him on our television screens here in the very near future. Also, it was announced that the Young Bucks will challenge for the IWGP Tag Team Championships at Wrestle Dynasty. Current champions are Great-O-Khan and Hanari from the United Empire. So Nick and Matt Jackson could walk out the Tokyo Dome once again, a IWGP Tag Team Champion. So that is the next time you will see them. Also, we got to mention this. It appears Juice Robinson was actually hurt in his Continental Classic matchup. So we're not sure if what the full extent of the injury is. I do know he was on crutches afterwards, so very well could be he may be out of the Continental Classic just when it started. I hope that's not the case, because I love me some Juice Robinson. And speaking of injuries, we did forget to mention this earlier with Survivor Series. Jimmy Uso did end up breaking his toe in the matchup after that splash, and we do know Bronson Reed has injured his ankle as well, apparently, it appears. We don't know the full extent of that, but stay tuned in the coming weeks here in PW60. I'm sure we will have some information on that. Well, my friend, it's time for us to go to our good, close, personal friend, Sienna, for some advice for us pro wrestling fans. So let's go to Sienna.
I've seen hella people making like a video response all over on different social media platforms, saying what does pro wrestling mean to them. Now, to me, pro wrestling, it means a lot of actions, a lot of energy, a lot of dedication, and especially watching like these talented wrestlers, like whether performing in the ring or even the broadcaster, the referees doing their thing, and everything around it. It's such a very beautiful thing, especially how the storytelling line. Like, for me, the biggest thing is the action, the drama, everything about it. I actually love it because, like, as for me, growing up, watching so many movies, so many soap operas, all thanks to my family, and everything about it, I actually really enjoyed it so much. And another thing I would say is it brought in everybody together, whether it's just a pro wrestling fans and upcoming stars, content creations, even like anyone that is within the wrestling business too, like the wrestlers, referees, broadcasting, etc. And honestly to say, pro wrestling is such a very beautiful thing in the world. I know it has like so many definitions, but this is what my definition of what does pro wrestling means to me. It means to me a lot, y'all.
Thank you so much, Sienna. We love you. And yeah, I love, and I think that, that trend started with a huge shout out to, Beard, who started that, I believe, that trend. A lot of cool videos out there. Yeah, wrestling. I mean, we could go on and on talking about how much we love professional wrestling. So, cool to see, cool to hear, from Sienna. Like I say, we love you. We love all of the content creators. And speaking of which, our Ruby Ringside wrestling content creator of this week just so happens to be Karen versus Wrestling. Now, I think it's a pretty cool page she has. Of course, she's got a cool YouTube page as well. But pretty much she stopped watching wrestling for a while. Now she's getting back into it with the current state of affairs. But she has some great insights. It's cool to see like kind of her journey getting back into pro wrestling, all the different types of wrestling. And she covers a lot kind of like what we do here. So very, very interesting page. Go follow Karen versus Wrestling if you're not doing so right now, because she is our Ruby Ringside wrestling content creator of the week this week on PW60. And finally, AEW Grand Slam Australia has changed venues. That's right. It's going to a smaller arena. Who fucking cares? They're going to Australia. It's going to be fucking cool, regardless of like what fucking venue they're in. There's going to be so many of the IWC trolls like, oh, I can't sell out a stadium. I mean, who fucking cares? It's going to be a cool ass show in Australia, man. I'm excited to see it nonetheless. It'll be awesome to see some homecomings. And I think our good buddy Lightskin has alluded to this. If we're not doing Mariah May against Toni Storm in the main event, then what are we doing here? So, but yeah, I think this is fine. I'm cool with it. It seems like AEW is starting to kind of scale down some stuff on some venues, and I'm excited to see that. I really am. Because number one, it's going to make for like a cooler crowd, like the noise there, the vibe there, and everything. Because we've been to multiple AEW shows, and it's always a cool vibe. So, like I say, excited to see it.
Only pro wrestling fans would complain about them needing to go to a smaller venue and then complain about that they're going to a smaller venue. Like
facts, my friend, facts. Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, we have officially kicked off Vegas Week this week here on Cole TV tonight with PW60. But we have got so much amazing Vegas content coming to you all this week. As a matter of fact, here is a sneak peek of what you can expect the rest of the week here on Cole TV. And today we got a very special episode of The Hunt because we're here in Vegas. We're here on Fremont Street. We're going to check out a place that is very well known, the Toy Shack. And holy crap, do you spot that? Check out this Luke Skywalker Darth Vader head helmet. That thing is trippy, dude. It's Slimer, and there you have some South Park characters as well. The Toy Shack, and here we see our bread and butter, the wrestling section. Of course, being here in Vegas, you know they're going to have some UFC toys and memorabilia and whatnot. But yes, they got the wrestling toys. Everything from the Mattels to the AWA Remcos. We even got some LJNs, and look, some LJNs on card too. And is that a Ted Arcidi LJN on card? Yeah, you don't see that every day. There we got Jimmy Snuka, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Check out that Jake the Snake squirt head back there. That is signed by Jake the Snake Roberts. And welcome to this very special Taste of Las Vegas. I'm your Huckleberry. Now, the Peppermill is a classic diner with that Vegas vibe and feel, and it's been around since 1972. I mean, if these walls could talk, it would be something else, because there has been literally anybody of a who's who that is entertained in Vegas has ate at one of these booths right here in the Peppermill. Oh! They're not messing around. Bet you didn't think you were going to get this on this Huckleberry. Wow, and look, right here you got a Liberace sign, the old Stardust and Riviera sign, and the Hard Rock Cafe.
It doesn't get more Vegas than that, folks.
This giant praying mantis. Now, something that was really cool is this sculpture. It was actually originally built for the annual Burning Man festival.
Say, and this is just the entryway.
This place is sick, man. Like, there's a little something for everybody.
Go to the great beyond here at Omega Mart. This is gonna blow your mind.
I'm telling you, the coolest part for me is this spear. This thing is nuts. With a 16K resolution wraparound interior LED screen, you can actually get up to over 18,000 people seated inside of this spear.
Oh, well, there you have it. Vegas week, like we say, just beginning. We got some amazing content, and it kicks off and it continues tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Hunt. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned all this week here on Cole TV. And of course, we got a very special Learn the Ropes this Thursday as well. All part of Vegas week. And of course, we got another big week as we're going into NXT Deadline and Saturday night's main event, the Continental Classic going on. It's the end of the year. How is this amazing 2024 going to end in the world of pro wrestling? We're going to find out. Well, I'm Xlj the Og, joined by my partner, Mr. B-Roll. We'll see you next week for another episode of PW60. Everybody take care and enjoy Vegas week here on Cole TV.